The girl discovered something terrifying while opening the window. She saw a meteor rushing toward the ground at extreme speed. The sky looked like it was torn open by the god of death. Then it slammed straight into the ocean. The girl instinctively crawled under the bed. The girl could not believe everything that was happening. She hurriedly picked up her phone. At the moment the second shockwave closed in, she hid on the other side of the wall. She quickly put on her shoes and rushed out of the room, but the hallway was already filled with cries of despair. Neighbors panicked and squeezed into the elevator. The girl tried to stop them, but it was already too late. The building was clearly starting to collapse. She hurried toward the emergency exit. Just then a larger meteor crashed down beside her. At that moment the girl did not dare to stay any longer. She ran for her life toward the stairs, but the situation here was even more terrifying. Breaking steel mixed with falling rubble. The narrow hallway was like a giant speaker. The sounds of fear were amplified dozens of times. It was practically a living hell. The girl struggled forward in the terrified crowd. She was knocked to the ground without noticing. Luckily she rolled down the stairs, which spared her from being trampled. The girl struggled to get back on her feet. She realized following the crowd was too dangerous. She reached the second floor balcony and climbed over the railing, then jumped down onto a car roof, successfully escaping the crowd. At this moment countless meteors were still streaking across the sky. Just as she was about to leave, a mother stopped her, begging her desperately to save the child in the car. The girl tried to pull open the door but failed. Luckily her boyfriend appeared at that moment. He smashed the window with 2 punches and successfully rescued the child. The boyfriend grabbed her and kept running. The street looked like a battlefield at the end of the world. People fleeing for their lives were everywhere. But as soon as the two ran into an alley, another meteor suddenly fell straight toward them. Thick smoke and scorching heat rushed toward them. Luckily the boyfriend reacted fast enough and hid around the street corner. Otherwise they would have ended up like the flying police car. Still shaken, the two tried to keep escaping, but the girl became timid due to psychological trauma. The boyfriend tried to comfort her and tell her not to be afraid, but fate did not seem ready to spare them. The wall beside them suddenly cracked open. Rubble came crashing down. The boyfriend ignored the danger and pushed the girl away, but he himself was buried under the collapsing debris. The shocked girl had no time to react and was sent flying several meters by a speeding car. The driver was a young couple. They were frightened by the sudden situation. With the help of a passerby, they carried the girl into the car, then stepped on the gas and continued to flee. Yet even at this life and death moment, the wife still complained about her husband. Luckily the driver had excellent driving skills and skillfully avoided the dangers on the road. Amid the violent shaking, the girl finally woke up. She was about to feel relieved, but discovered the bridge behind them was collapsing. Everyone was thinking about how to survive, which made the road conditions even more dangerous. Suddenly an out-of-control truck rushed out from the side. Luckily it braked in time and avoided a tragedy. They tried to reverse but were hit from behind by another car. The three had no choice but to get out, but the young couple insisted on bringing their luggage. The girl tried to urge them to leave quickly, but the building in front of them collapsed with a roar. In the chaos, she could only save herself and escape. The girl rushed into a toy store, but the aftershock followed right behind. Fortunately, the walls of the toy store were strong enough, and the girl was not crushed to death. Then she noticed a teddy bear was making sounds. It was her father who worked on the Mira space station. He contacted her through the recording bear. It turned out not long ago, the space agency detected a group of asteroids passing close to Earth. Everyone believed it would be a once-in-a-century meteor shower, but as the visitors from space drew closer, the Mira finally saw what was really behind them. By then it was too late to evacuate. Her father tried to warn his daughter to hide, but everything was already too late. The space station was also severely damaged in the disaster. Aside from the girl's father, all other crew members were killed. Her father then located his daughter via satellite and used the communication function in the teddy bear to reach her. With her father full of high-tech support, the rescue team quickly found her. But when she came out, the once bustling city had already become ruins. Suddenly a massive rock smashed into a car. A firefighter hurriedly pointed her in a direction, then returned to the rescue effort. Looking at the devastation around her, the girl was completely stunned. Just then her mother's voice came from inside the teddy bear. Her father had connected them. Hearing that her daughter was safe, her mother finally breathed a sigh of relief. When she learned her brother was not with them, the girl suddenly remembered that to film the meteor shower, she had sent her brother to the tallest building. Looking at the now crumbling skyscraper, it was hard to imagine what the situation inside was like. Her father pulled up a map via satellite, but after computer analysis, the probability of collapse was as high as 87%. Her father wanted to stop her, but the girl was overwhelmed with guilt and decided to take the risk to find her brother. And at that very moment, the power on the Mira was also about to run out. The space station activated sleep mode. The Mira AI warned him to reach the escape pod as soon as possible, because the station would enter the atmosphere in 2 hours. Her father would not let his daughter take the risk. The area storing spare batteries had been destroyed. Although a spacewalk alone was basically suicide, he still put on his spacesuit. Her father resolutely left the engineering module. The battery location was only 18 meters away, but countless dangers were hidden along the way. He had to stay fully focused. To pass through blade-like debris, sharp metal could pierce the spacesuit at any time. To avoid incoming impacts, he accidentally lost his balance. Her father spun uncontrollably in space, and the cable wrapped around him at that moment. Under the huge inertia, he was flung back into the battery compartment, and power was finally restored. At the same time, the girl had reached the unstable building. Falling rubble kept smashing into the ground. One wrong step could turn her into a pulp. The girl reached the main entrance, but it now looked like the mouth of a beast, as if it could swallow her at any moment. Looking at the shaking building, the girl felt fear, but thinking of her brother, she gathered her courage and rushed inside. She shouted her brother's name, but only endless echoes answered. Seeing the collapsed elevator shaft, she feared her brother might die there. Still, she forced herself to climb upward. The girl struggled up floor by floor. Through her constant effort, she finally heard her brother's cries for help. Luckily, the top floor suffered less damage, which allowed her brother to survive. The girl told her brother to jump bravely, saying she would catch him for sure. With his sister's constant encouragement, the brother finally let go. But when she tried to go back the same way, the rooftop slab suddenly collapsed. She quickly pulled her brother and ran back, but the slabs behind them also started falling. Their escape route was completely blocked. After learning the situation, the father rushed back to the engineering module. After pulling up the building structure, he quickly calculated a route. He told his daughter they could climb down through the meteor crater. Though it looked extremely difficult, it was the only way out. Facing the pitch-black bottomless hole, the brother was terrified. No matter how much his sister comforted him, he refused to go down. She had no choice but to carry him and prepare to climb with weight. But suddenly the building began to shake violently, and both of them fell. The teddy bear also smashed to the ground and was completely destroyed. The father lost contact with them, but they did not fall all the way down. At the critical moment, the sister grabbed onto steel bars, which saved their lives. Through the sister's constant effort, they finally made it back to the ground. But just as they escaped the building, the entire structure collapsed. They hid inside another building, which kept them from being swallowed by dust. They waited there for an hour, but the dust still did not settle. The two could only cover their mouths and noses and keep escaping. In such an environment, even direction was hard to judge, let alone finding the correct route. Just then the brothers suddenly noticed the cars ahead were flashing their lights, but when they walked over, they found them completely empty. Not far away, another car light turned on, and it was empty as well. At that moment, the brother noticed the traffic lights also began flashing. He guessed their father was guiding them. Since the teddy bear was broken, he must be using this method to lead the way. The sister seemed to realize it too, but she needed confirmation. The two walked a few steps in the opposite direction, and the roadside red light instantly turned on. Clearly that was not the correct route. Only then did the girl finally believe that all of this was help from her father 400 kilometers away. These small guiding lights brought great comfort to the two in the apocalypse. With their father guiding them, they moved forward and finally reached the rescue point. At the same time, the father began preparing to evacuate. He had very little time left, but just then, a massive explosion echoed across the sky. A powerful shockwave swept the brother away. Even the helicopter in the sky was hit, crashing to the ground in flames. Sensing something wrong, the father began to scan. It turned out a nearby cruise ship had exploded. The girl snapped back and rushed to her brother, only to find his head was injured. With the help of the rescue team, the two were taken to a temporary hospital, but due to a lack of doctors, the sister begged for a long time and no one responded. She saw a helicopter transporting the wounded, but was rejected because it was already overloaded. To ensure flight safety, the pilot coldly shut the hatch. Suddenly, a metal hand reached out. It turned out the missing boyfriend was still alive. He gave his spot to the brother and chose to stay with the girl. The two thought the disaster was over, but then the boy's phone rang again. It was their father contacting them via satellite, but he also brought bad news. He said the explosion caused a fuel pipeline to rupture. Soon the cruise ship ahead would suffer a massive explosion. Half the city would be destroyed. There were only 20 minutes left. The father needed to guide his daughter to an escape route. The girl wanted to warn everyone to evacuate, but her father stopped her because he had already calculated that the rescue teams were too far away to arrive in time, and people would not easily believe her. Even if they did, the scene would fall into panic, and escape would become impossible. The boyfriend suddenly remembered the cruise ship had a fire system. Since he could connect to the phone, he should also be able to control the ship. But the father said the ship was too old and could not be remotely controlled, so the only option was to leave quietly. Those words made the daughter furious. When she was 6 years old, she was trapped in an elevator. Her father tried everything but could not open it, as the wiring caught fire. He had no choice but to give up. She suffered terribly inside. By the time rescue arrived, she was already badly burned and disfigured. This made her resent her father. Now she refused to like him. She wanted to manually activate the fire system. Her father thought she was crazy, because even professional rescue teams could not guarantee success. She still believed he was running away, and angrily threw the phone aside. Seeing the girl determined to board the ship, the boyfriend could only risk his life to join her. They paddled a small boat and boarded the cruise ship. Only then did they realize the situation was far worse than expected. The immense pressure made the ship creak strangely. Everything was burning hot to the touch. After searching for a long time, they finally found the direction of the control room. But as soon as the boyfriend opened the steel door, a wave of heat blasted him away. Seeing this, the girl became afraid. Childhood trauma made her fear flames. Her breathing became rapid. Luckily, the boyfriend kept encouraging her, which helped her calm down. The boyfriend wanted to check for another route, and the girl remembered the teddy bear. If they could fix it, they could get help from her father. Fortunately, the boyfriend was a physics genius. After some quick adjustments, the communication was restored. After learning his daughter had boarded the ship, he said no more, and quickly found a route. The two raced against death inside the giant steamer. With the father's precise guidance, they quickly reached the control room. The father tried to warn them not to open the door, but it was already too late. The boyfriend was blasted several meters by flames, and passed out. Seeing this, the girl panicked, but this time she did not fear the fire. She rushed to his side, yet facing her unconscious boyfriend, she did not know what to do. The father tried to comfort her to stay calm, but suddenly the screen went black. Power in the engineering module was cut again. The station had entered the atmosphere. Gravity tore apart the floating power lines. Even worse, the oxygen supply was about to run out. Yet at this life or death moment, the father did not choose to use the escape pod. He wanted to help his daughter finish the mission. He ordered Mira to shut down the AI system, and redirected all remaining power to the computer. Using black tech, he connected to the boyfriend's mechanical arm, hoping to give his daughter courage this way. When their hands locked together, the girl slowly calmed down. She was no longer afraid. Now she only wished her father could save her boyfriend. Her father encouraged her not to give up, because the box ahead was their last hope. Inside was a fire suit that could protect her from flames. Only then would she have a chance to open the valve. This time the girl did not hesitate. She put on the suit and walked into the fire. At the same time, the space station entered the atmosphere. Father and daughter, 300 kilometers apart, endured the flames together. With her father constantly encouraging her, the girl bravely grabbed the valve, and finally opened the fire pipeline. The father showed a relieved smile. He had finally completed his mission. He told his daughter to look at the sky, because this time it meant he did not run away.
Как понял.